Religion is the beating heart of humanity's quest for meaning, a powerful force intertwining faith, ritual, and community, guiding souls through the depths of existence towards the ineffable realms of transcendence. But what happens when the so-called religion you most obeyed and worshipped turned out to be the main reason of your horrendous actions, despising not only you but your whole family as well? Come join us as we delve into this horrific crime. Until weeks before her unimaginable act, Lauren Stewart, 45, seemed to be living a perfect life to those who only knew her on the outside. She was a loving mother to her adult children, Stephen and Bethany, and a devoted wife to Dan. But a dark side lurked beneath the surface as she studied haunting paths on YouTube, learned how to use a Glock handgun, and experimented with suicide. This is the mysterious story of Lauren Stewart. Lauren Devine Stewart was born on January 9, 1973. Her employment experience includes occasional house cleaning and part-time personal training at the YMCA in Farmington Hills. She was born and raised in Michigan. She explored modeling and acting after quitting the Jehovah's Witnesses, discovering her creative side through seminars and building relationships with photographers. She was thought to be a kind and charming woman. According to her online profile, she stated, "I love acting and modeling. I am a very passionate person and it reflects in my work. I'm adventurous in nature, so I like a wide variety of acting and modeling experiences. I enjoy learning new things, especially with good direction. Sharing relative ideas, new and old, intrigues me. Life is an adventure, and my goal is to die knowing I did the things I wanted to do." Lauren was married to Daniel Stewart, a lead software architect at the cutting edge of technical innovation at the University of Michigan, who worked on creating technologies that could anticipate heart attacks. She and her spouse were devoted Jehovah's Witnesses until 2013, when they made the decision to investigate an alternative path for their spirituality. The couple had two successful kids, Stephen, 27, and Bethany, 24, who works as a computer whiz and is a data solution architect. Stephen and his father were both passionate in technology, while Bethany displayed her artistic and graphic design abilities. Lauren Stewart appeared to have it all at 45 years old. A successful marriage, two children who attended college, a promising modeling career, and a quaint Keogh Harbor home with a heart wreath on the door. However, there was concealed suffering behind this flawless front. The pain of being shunned and rejected by the religion she and Daniel were raised in consumed Lauren. She and her husband decided a few years ago to leave the Jehovah's Witness faith, a Christian organization infamous for its rigorous indoctrination and exclusion of former members. The picture-perfect facade concealed a convoluted web of feelings and decisions that would eventually come together to form an engrossing story. Her family were devoted Jehovah's Witnesses until 2013. They followed a rigorous set of beliefs that excluded birthdays, Easter, Christmas, and any other celebration that they felt went against the teachings of Jesus. Furthermore, Stephen and Bethany ran the possibility of being excommunicated if they went to college, as their faith forbade higher learning. Dan thought that sending their kids to college would provide them a better future. The response they received from the church elders, when they asked for permission to allow their children to pursue degrees, was unwavering: defy the church's rules, or risk being excommunicated. The Stewarts were deeply troubled by this threat because nearly every person they knew, including their extended family, belonged to the congregation. Excommunication would involve total seclusion, even from their own family members, in accordance with church regulations. The Stewarts took a risk when they decided to abandon the religion they had practiced for a long time. It felt perfect at first, but eventually the criticism from the community got to be too much, especially for Lauren. Even simple things like grocery shopping were ruined by harsh remarks and shady stares from friends who had previously been trusted. The disparaging statements were purposefully made within earshot, even though they were not addressed directly to her. Living in a town with a population of only 3,300 people, many of them Jehovah's Witnesses, the Stewarts struggled with the fact that those who got along well with the church would constantly remind them of their outsider position whenever the chance arose. There eventually came a breaking point as a result of this emotional strain. Seeking solace from her circumstances, Lauren frequented the gym and established it as a routine to restore her physical health. Her transformation was so amazing that she was able to use her inherent attractiveness to become a model with unexpected success, landing a position as a fitness instructor. Despite her church's rejection, Lauren came across as friendly and hopeful to everyone who came into contact with her during this period. However, underlying her outward display of self-assurance was deep, unbearable pain, chronic depression, which she struggled with long before the rejection became more intense. Day by day, as she frantically tried to hide her inner agony, semblances of her facade began to show, which she would soon cover up with a false grin. The family's crushing debt, which was driving them to the brink of bankruptcy, was one of Lauren's most well-held secrets. She came up with a plan to fix all of her issues at once when she was faced with a simultaneous assault of financial and emotional hardship. Lauren Stewart's plunge into darkness, driven by her inner demons, was tragic and terrifying. She dove into gloomy research, searching YouTube for how-to videos on handling a pistol and ways to commit suicide, everything pointing toward February 15, 2018, the tragic day. She meticulously cleaned the house, phoned her loved ones and her husband's work, and put a heartfelt letter on the dinner table. She flipped over all the family portraits on a secretary desk right before the unimaginable crime. She texted her husband's supervisor at 9:24 a.m. saying, "Mark, this is Lauren. Dan had an accident this morning and died. I can't talk now. Someone will inform you later on the details at the hospital." When the boss asked for more information, he received no answer. Moments afterward, at 5:07 p.m., she confessed to her cousin that same day that she had turned evil. Her cousin retorted, "Lauren, you are scaring me. What are you saying? Don't do it." She had continued, "I took my husband and kids with me so that they don't have to feel my selfish act. They will sleep until Christ resurrects them. I truly hope you do better where I failed." Over the past few months, Lauren had grown increasingly removed from the actual world. Her family was unaware that she was in possession of a firearm and had regrettably chosen to use it against the same people she claimed to love. This terrible conclusion of her inner suffering gave rise one by one to a horrendous chain of events. Dan, her 47-year-old spouse, was her first victim, as he carelessly unwinded in their furnished basement. Lauren shot him in the head using a throw pillow as an improvised silencer. Now that her biggest threat was neutralized, she went up the steps. Bethany, her 24-year-old daughter, was sleeping in her room, having just had her birthday. Lauren took a few steps to the side of the bed, leveled the revolver, and instantly took her daughter's life. Then, on false pretenses, her son Stephen, who lived across town, unintentionally found his way to the family house. He busied himself with the chore his mother had planned, unaware of the impending peril. Lauren, the mother he loved, shot him at point-blank range when he had his back turned and had no idea what was coming. That wasn't the end of the terrifying scene. Lauren killed the family dog and dumped its corpse in the bathtub. After hearing these bullets, a neighbor thought someone was bashing doors. She went through and cleaned the house like it was a temporary morgue, and it was cold. The darkness came to an end when Lauren used a technique she had read about online to turn the gun on herself. Lauren never replied when her cousin tried texting her back after Lauren had sent her a message. The next morning, February 16th, the cousin and a friend dropped by her home. They called the police to ask for a welfare check after getting no response at the door. The kitchen was tidy, the refrigerator was stocked, handwritten labels were on different goods, and a calendar was hanging on the refrigerator when officers arrived at the property early on February 16th. The officers were horrified to find the family dog in the bathtub, leading them to believe there was an active shooter. While ascending a spiral staircase to the second story, one couple exclaimed, "Get your gun out, there's a dead dog in the tub," to their companion. They discovered Stephen Stewart on the ground. It is thought that he was shot while seated. Bethany was shot in her sleep and lay dying in another room, the sound muffled by a pillow. There were also visible gunshots on the pillowcase. Dan Stewart was found with his right hand still in his trousers pocket, standing in front of a couch on the basement floor. His left pocket's slightly ripped white pocket liner indicated that he was standing when he was shot, and that he tried to react by withdrawing the liner. Lauren was found at the bottom of the steps above, a pistol by her side, the cut between her eyes that she had self-inflicted mirroring her internet study. On the dinner table, 2 notes were discovered. One was addressed to the medical examiner, while the other revealed Lauren's inner conflict and was a terrifying suicide note. "I allowed evil into my heart when I chose not to accept God's free love, and it made me sick inside," wrote Lauren. "I killed my family because I know my death would stumble them." At least now they will not suffer and will be resurrected to life forever in peace. A complicated and confusing picture started to emerge as the detectives dug more into the Stewarts' life. Family, acquaintances, and neighbor interviews depicted the couple as withdrawn and estranged following their departure from the Jehovah's Witness faith. Lauren's personal troubles tainted her past. According to some family members, Lauren, who had 11 siblings, struggled with depression, which was subsequently made worse by the responsibilities of motherhood. She developed a religious fixation in recent years and frequently went on passionate tirades. Her father and sister, among other family members who hadn't spoken to her in years, demonstrated the depth of the emotional rift that had developed over time. At the age of 13, her mother had gone away. They were estranged for years and never truly cared for Dan because they considered him as the one who eventually drew Lauren away from them. Concerning the couple's mental health, they also revealed disturbing details describing their union as a combination of mutual anguish. Lauren's decision to quit the Jehovah's Witness faith and her vocal criticism to the organization were reasons enough for people who knew her to classify her as an apostate. Those who knew the family well were deeply affected by the heartbreaking tragedy. Longtime family friend Joyce Taylor was clearly frightened, thinking the murders were directly related to the Stewarts' excommunication from the Jehovah's Witnesses. The difficult realities of abandoning the faith were illuminated by Taylor and other former adherents. They clarified that if you leave the church, even members of your own family who are still members of the congregation are not allowed to speak with you. This is a harsh kind of exclusion that has a profoundly negative emotional impact. According to Taylor, the religious doctrine strongly discouraged pursuing higher education. Therefore, Lauren and Daniel's goal to give their kids a college education ran counter to those teachings. Tragically, their desires and the strict doctrines of their faith collided, causing them to unravel. They were shunned everywhere in every way possible, Taylor stated. When you're raised a Jehovah's Witness, they choose your friends, they choose who you associate with, and if you go against that, they will disfellowship you or shun you. Unexpectedly, Joyce Taylor broke into a Union Lake Kingdom Hall gathering and grabbed the opportunity to address the group. Perched on a chair, she blasted the assembly with a voice full of sadness mixed with rage. "I apologize to all of you," she said. "My name is Joyce Taylor. 2 days ago, 4 people died as a result of your shunning process." Taylor shoved away attendees and let out her pent-up rage, sending shockwaves through the room. 5 years ago, you people pulled your support from this small family. The only support they had was you people. You turned them away and you shunned them. And for what?" she yelled. "Because they wanted to raise their children as they saw fit." The family's problems with their previous church were known to the police, but they remained silent. According to police documents, on February 6th at 11 p.m., Lauren had filmed a moving 2-minute video in which she described the depths of her desperation. She listed a long list of problems, saying she couldn't go on and that she didn't want to be a burden to anyone else. Lauren was abandoned by her church family and was lost in an unending sea of hopelessness. She made the painful decision to end her own life because she was certain that it was the only way to end her excruciating suffering. By doing so, she spared her loved ones from the shame and sorrow she believed her actions would undoubtedly bring upon their home. Lauren's mental health in the years preceding the catastrophe was depicted in bleak detail in police records, which noted her obvious signs of severe despair and increasingly strange conduct. It seems that she had become deeply engrossed in her own understanding of religion, which made her despair worse. Remarkably, neither alcohol nor prescription medicines were discovered in her system, and she never sought out professional assistance or counseling. But it turned out that Lauren's husband and sons had marijuana residue in their systems as well. Her tragic actions were caused by a complex web of factors that the police investigation uncovered. These included deep-seated emotional scars from alleged childhood sexual abuse, loneliness, and strained relationships with family and friends due to religious differences. These factors all combined to exacerbate her anguish and ultimately drove her to commit the unthinkable. Lauren's sister's remark was a powerful illustration of the family's discord. When she learned of her sister's deeds, she presented a mournful face and shown a startling lack of astonishment, highlighting how far Lauren had deviated from her own sister, who even displayed no guilt about the catastrophe. Although Lauren Stewart's horrific acts may have been motivated by her childhood trauma and the extreme seclusion imposed by her old religion, it raises the issue of whether events would have turned out differently had she asked for assistance when she felt trapped by her situation. sadly.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us today. Check out this other thrilling videos for you to watch, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe and like button, and let us know down below your thoughts on today's case. Until then, take care.